Chapter 2: The Principles of Life. Focus on the good you provide to others. From the time I was a kid through the present, I have always announced that I was the luckiest person in the world to have been born by and well cared for by my parents, especially my mom, the number one other in my life. I believe that it was God's plan for me to exist and to give me such a special mother, who has been a teacher, an idol, a mentor, and a great caretaker. She made the most of the worst and gave me the best out of life. She looks like a simple woman, small and short in physical stature, and easily underestimated by many. But oh my lord, is she ever inwardly explosive when it comes to the good deeds she wants to create for her family, her extended family, and her community. So, this kid from Vietnam, from the rural countryside of a third world nation, understood the bad conditions he was living in, but never felt it because of the vast amount of love and care that he received from family members, and especially mom. I learned to recognize one thing from all my experience up to this point: what you do for others is all that matters and nothing else, so we must choose to always provide the best and most valuable opportunity for others that we possibly can. There's a saying that my mom always tells me: son, a piece of bread that is given to a person when he is hungry is worth more than a big meal given to one who is full. $1 given to those who do not have any money is worth more than thousands of dollars given to those who have enough. The consistency in giving and adding value to others in need is worth more than a one-time large gift. Son, there is an element of self-satisfaction, self-happiness, and self-motivation that this involves. She stressed that acts done for others are hundreds of times more self-satisfying than doing for oneself, the others focused. Growing up, I watched her give gifts to everyone who came by our house. There was a potato, her only food, which she cut in half and gave to a biker who rode her around. When there was a bag of bananas, she immediately distributed one to each of her team members. People, in turn, often gave her gift bags of fruit. However, these never lasted more than an hour before she had already distributed it. I watched her give without much thought, carrying out a must-do mission, even when she had very little. I grew up watching Dad get angry because of these actions. Damn it, you keep giving everything away, and not keeping anything for our family to eat. Give it some thought next time, he yelled at Mom in a behind-the-scenes conversation that I often overheard. Interestingly, each time she would smile and respond, Dad, they need it more than we do. Of course, Dad did cool down, but he could not stop her from giving away whatever she had. As I better understand this now, I call it human engineering to happiness from my personal perspective. According to books such as The Power of Your Subconscious Mind by Joseph Murphy, I learned that it is like brainwashing ourselves. It involves training our subconscious mind, the main part of our brain that reasons and pushes us to do everything we do, even when we don't know why. In this case, Mom brainwashed herself and others around her, and so I was trained and witnessed and experienced this, brainwashed, via Mom's giving as a guiding principle of life. This makes the action of giving easier than most tasks that I deal with in life. And once I lived through the happiness of giving unconditionally, I untapped a compulsion to do it more. Interestingly, the same results have occurred throughout my life, as my experiences duplicate those of her life. That is to say that people around me started to give things to me in services, products, assistance, and mentorships. You cannot give without first focusing on others and being less worried about yourself, son. The more you give, the more you gain in return, often from other sources, Mom explained. Expectation is the source of worry, unhappiness, and uncertainty. That's why giving unconditionally matters more, because that's when you give without expectation, Mom explained. No expectations give the human mind the freedom to enjoy the giving experience and seek happiness in other people's happiness when they receive your gift. This fact was confirmed by Dale Carnegie in his book, How to Stop Worrying and Start Living. What is of greater interest to me is that Mom always acted, and then explained her actions to her children. Often, she would take us with her on business trips so we could witness her activities and see how she treated other people when making business deals. Mom is not the type who speaks theory, rather she acts on the theory and then explains it using examples of her actions. Throughout my life, this resonated the most with me: actions speak louder than words. Do it first, son. Do it. For anything you think is good for others, do it first and then explain it. If you make one person happy through one action, do it again for many, and then increase that each day forward. Trial and error. I learned through doing. I watched her read a lot, but these were always technical books and business product and service books. They were never books about theories of life principles. To learn and not act is useless. It is worse than those who never learned. Once you know, you must act on what you know. Mom pushed our boundaries of thought on this topic. If you know and do not act, knowledge is wasted. I believe that it is better to know less and act on what is known rather than to spend your life learning and only act on a small percent of that accumulated knowledge. Studying and education are often used as an excuse for not acting. Mom stated this while elaborating on the importance of acting in relation to learning. As a computer engineer professional, there is a term called fail fast, which refers to developing software in small chunks and testing each chunk quickly as soon as it is completed. This carries with it the expectation of failing but allows engineers to fix it immediately. Satisfactory results are better controlled when tested. Throughout my life, many others surrounding me have confirmed the following guiding principles to be true. 1. Hearing does not mean listening. 2. Listening does not mean understanding. 3. Understanding does not mean you will act. 4. Acting on your understanding does not mean getting your desirable result. 5. Getting your desirable result does not always mean what you expect. 6. What you expect does not mean what you need. 7. What you need is often faith in God. 8. Your faith in God gives you peace and happiness in life. These 8 steps of guiding principles provide me a path to either work from top down or from bottom up, and both will take us to the center where the me or self stands. The me stands in the center, surrounded by others, especially at step 4. It is all about acting even when you are in doubt. Son, the worst position to be in is standing in the middle of a two-directional road and being undecided as to which direction to take, Mom taught us. Not making a decision will deteriorate a mind quickly. That leads to stress from my own experience, knowing but not acting. The key to this is that there is no such thing as knowing enough. Risk-taking is part of life in all things we do, son. There has never been a time that I do things with full understanding and know I will receive a guaranteed result. It is always a leap of faith when we take on challenges and do things. Don't talk about things you have not done. Being a Vietnamese with 1,000 years of history, the number one thing that we often learn from literature, schools, and our elders is, be humble, talk less and do more. I did not understand the importance of this saying until later in life, now more than ever, and surely, this will resonate a lot more with me in the future. As a kid, I questioned this. Mom, if I don't talk, then how do people get to know me? These questions held stronger weight after we moved to the United States, where I learned that individualism is emphasized. Focus on self and show people who you really are were the messages I received when I first immigrated to America. In Vietnamese, my mother often says, Noi truosi buosi o qua. The loose English translation would be don't count your chickens before they hatch. She often told stories and cited examples of people who talked about a certain task before completing it, and often they ended up with an incomplete undertaking. This refers to a project, a business, a goal, or a simple action. Son, if you talk like you have already done something, you will believe you have already done it and your sense of motivation to complete the job won't be as great. What you want to do is build a fire of motivation about the work, to the level you cannot hold it anymore, and that energy enters your body to act on it. You must also maintain that fire to the end. Doing this will often lead you to completion of all tasks you want to accomplish. During a panel discussion recently in 2022, in a crowd of mostly professional computer engineers, I was asked to elaborate on the concern of how to live in a society, US, that requires most of us to show off who we are in order to be accepted, trusted, and respected, and still live based on the principle of being humble. I might be biased, but I told the audience, we still brag about ourselves, and we should continue to teach our kids and the younger generations to be vocal and share their accomplishments. Most importantly, the how matters. We should be open about bragging about what we have done, not what we know. For me, what we know does not mean anything until we test it ourselves by acting on it with success. In the best circumstances, we only brag about what we do for other people that adds value to their lives. This is how I summarized my life experiences and learning from the many others in my life. Being humble does not mean you should be quiet and just let life go on. Being humble means you talk when you need to talk and keep your ears open so you will listen most of the time to understand others. Son, you have to seek to understand others at all times, because that's the only way you will know where and how you can add value to their lives. Share what you have done, not what you know. Trading value. When we act, we should emphasize the doing, especially the doing of good, the doing of adding value, and the doing of assisting others. All we are doing is trading values among human beings, Mom explained. The source of all happiness, as I learned from the many mentors in my life, is about trading values with others. Son, in life there is no such thing as living by yourself or doing things only for yourself with the goal of gaining satisfaction and happiness. All walks of life involve other people. I always knew this was a key factor in life, ever since I started to understand more of Mom's teachings that she would explain at the dinner table. Humans need each other to survive and make the best out of what life gives us. We do that by complementing each other and giving values that others cannot share with each other, she explained. I emphasize the giving, son. Remember that. This led my mother to speak about the win-win principle. When you give, and others give back, often in equal or greater value, we call that a win-win situation. It also means a great trade. Values can be in many forms: services, products, or money. The key takeaway here is that each person leaves with satisfaction, as both parties obtain a certain value that they need. Son, this is called a real business. Sometimes people trade with one win and one loss, but that is not a real business, not in my experience, at least not a long-lasting one. Business, especially a long-lasting business, requires consistency for win-win trading. We call these repeat customers or repeat transactions. It is easier to keep and build a repeat customer who already knows you and your business than to acquire a new one, Mom stated. It is also better to maintain a friend than create an enemy who would potentially exhaust themselves in an effort to destroy you. A good win-win trade avoids all this and establishes happy customers who keep coming back for more, Mom said. Customers can mean everyone who is on the other end of a trade. I learned that even volunteering is a form of a trade, although most believe that it's a one-sided business deal. The one who volunteers receives something in return, and the one who receives assistance from the volunteer also receives something, even if it is not a service, product, or money. Maintaining a win-win trade matters all the time throughout life, son, regardless of the activity you are engaged in. Education and daily learning. The term education has changed its meaning for me as I grow through each stage of my life. As I work toward my PhD degree and complete my research papers, I have gained a deeper respect for what education means in life. My mom only graduated high school, but she is well versed in most topics of life and business in which she has been involved. Most people, I included, would say she is a doer, and she learns all things through her actions. As I reflect, I remember that she was always reading a book at night, and literally, at any moment that she had free. My mom reads a lot of books, newspapers, and magazines, mostly about technical topics related to what she is currently doing. She consistently stays up to date by doing this. Son, I didn't have the opportunity to attend formal education like you back then. That is the number one priority that I want for you, my children, to get now, and you have done this. However, formal education is just a foundation. I have learned that school and formal education provide a structure, a base, a stepladder with a proven mechanism for us to progress through the learning process. Completion of a formal education from elementary school all the way to the doctoral level is only the beginning. I have always believed that completion of formal education is the be-all and end-all of learning. I once believed that with a diploma, a certificate, or a degree the educational journey in life would be completed. However, as I grew older, I recognized that this is all wrong. With a bachelor's and master's degree in computer engineer and computer science, and all but dissertation in my Doctor of Information Technology Management degree, I learned that I was unprepared for life. Reality hit when I graduated with an engineer degree and was not hired by any company for 6 months, even after hundreds of job applications and a few interviews. I learned that the formal education provided in school was no way near what a hiring company needs. This is called a reality check, son. Life is more practical, more real, more detailed and granular, and especially more specific to each topic or challenge that needs solving. You need to learn more, and more importantly, learn fast and learn every day to adapt. True to her words, throughout my 20 years as a computer engineer, from a small local company to Fortune 500 companies like Humana or UPS, everything that I do each day involves something new. Meeting these job responsibilities demands new knowledge and requires new learning processes, and the act of acquiring information now. Like Mom, I read more often than before, and I am consistently reading, often not by choice, but because the job requires it. But once I began to commit to a reading routine, it became natural to me, and I started to get addicted to learning more. Now I can honestly say I read by choice. Only others in the image of God are the focus, not oneself. Son, what you know today is for today. Tomorrow requires tomorrow's knowledge, so keep updating. The same is true for others. What they do today will change, and so you must learn from them again to add value to their life. What she means to say here is that you must continue your education according to your business and life needs. You will never know it all, nor will you be the master of anything. So, keep learning. But more importantly, once you remove the me and replace it with others, you will find that your life is much fuller. I did not understand this concept early in life and refused to understand it. As a kid, I wanted all attention to focus on me. I wanted what I wanted, and I got it. Growing up, I started to reflect on my mother's teaching and acknowledged it to be the center of happiness and the foundation for success. We humans are weak in mind and body. We are lazy and always find excuses not to do things. We seek to find ways to get by without doing much. We also tell ourselves that we are smart, know a lot, and can do many things, when, in fact, we can only do one or two small things at a time. Here, she is referring to how we limit our capacity to do too much at one time. However, consistency in completing and accumulating small tasks will lead to a certain big result. There's no big thing that humans can do, there's only the accumulation of small tasks we do that over time that end up being potentially great accomplishments. Do not think of yourself as the center of the universe, Mom teaches. This does not mean we should look down on ourselves as humans, but accept and acknowledge where we stand, so we can adapt, study, and learn to climb or work on building the next step. God is the only be-all and end-all. Not us. Interestingly, as a Catholic who has attended Sunday Mass each and every week of my life, I learned that the Bible refers to something similar. More importantly, the Bible teaches us to see God in others, see values in others, and see values in ourselves by providing those values to others. Therefore, others are the focus. Seek to see values in others. My mom always taught me that everyone is born in the image of God, and God never made anything useless. Everything in existence has a purpose. It's just a matter of if our brains and hearts have the capacity to understand and recognize it. Only when you recognize the values that others have, can you recognize that you need them in yourself. This is also when you learn to work with others using their value and your value-added mentality. Again, the win-win situation is involved here. All interactions among humans are a trade, and all trade involves value exchange, regardless if you know it or not. I witness such exchanges through all aspects of my life. For example, I experienced this when hanging out and having a drink with friends. Without thinking about it, my friends and I were exchanging time spent with each other. Even without expectations, we were providing each other company, along with a session of good talk or a quiet understanding that we have each other as friends. We are trading or giving each other value. What I have not always recognized until now is that if I acknowledge the value when I engage with someone, then I make the time spent together a lot more interesting, create more interaction, and maximize the value we give to each other. Learning to see the good and the strength in others is the first step. The second step is aligning those qualities of others to complement what you do in life. The third step is to align one's own good and strength to the others. The win-win situation is about using each other's strength to complement each other and push both forward to the next level. This is the way Mom taught us about collaboration and maximizing human interaction for the good of others. There is a proverbial phrase that states, if you want to go fast, go alone, if you want to go far, go together. Humans are limited on many fronts, and God provides others around us to complement and assist us in what we do to allow us to live to the fullest. Working with others is part of human nature, son. We need and crave that. Some also say we are social animals, so going against this principle would bring you unhappiness and undesirable results, often ending in loneliness, which we don't want. Everyone has something that you don't have, and everyone is good at something that you are not, nor will you ever have time to work on it. So, respect everyone you see, and treat them as yourself. With this repetitive teaching, I naturally became immersed in this principle of life. Feelings and emotions are not real, what you do is. Feelings are not real, Mom said to me time and time again. I almost always responded, huh, Mom? Later in life, as I grew older, I understood what she meant. As I write this now at 40 years of age, I only somewhat understand what she really means about feelings. Son, your feelings exaggerate life situations, and they are often self focused or selfish. Self focus is a disaster for self improvement, for self giving, for self control, and for self check, she elaborated. Self focused humans see only themselves and no one else. It is life's biggest obstacle that some will see, and others never will. Self focus leads to self doubt, self questioning, self hesitation, and self ego. These are many of the self related obstacles that stop us from acting and adding value to life. Remove yourself from the picture, and only then will you know how to act on behalf of the good of others, which we call selflessness. Acting selfless is when you are acting the most for others. Giving is when you receive, and this is not hypothetical. It is a natural law to give and to be given, she explained. As I reflected on this principle, I came across an audiobook, F***CK Feelings, by Sarah Bennett and Michael Bennett. This book solidifies what my mother's teaching means to me in a more structured way. I learned that feelings are truly unreal, they are just in the mind. Feelings and emotions are our brains thinking about things, none of which change or make anything real. What is very real is that feelings and emotions drive me to act in a certain way, and often not logically or constructively. Feelings almost always drive me to act on self-interest instead of the larger picture, which includes self and others, which I sum up to be a community of people. Acting only in self-interest has never led me to a desirable result or the happiness that I seek, especially in the long term. I feel that strongly now at this age, and I am confident through the eyes and experience of mentors, that I will only see this to be the case even more as I grow older. Through my personal life, my professional life as a computer engineer, and my business life as a business owner, I can affirm that this principle is true. Win-win conditions, win-win business trades, and win-win transactions are best conducted in an emotionless way to allow our brains to think more strategically and objectively. I will attest that completely emotionless actions do not exist. Everything that I have done up to this point has always involved some feeling and emotion. However, the least amount of emotional attachment does allow the brain to better apply the facts and knowledge to the decision, which so often leads to better results. Progress, small wins matter, and that's all you can do anyway. One step forward is better than standing still. Standing still today is a step back for tomorrow, Mom taught us. Humans require progress in life and the drive to move forward naturally. Son, life is hard, and you will face many times when you are stuck, unmotivated, and face conditions that yield no desirable results. Understand that this is still a result and still progress. What is unacceptable is no result, which only exists when you stand still. Progress, son. Progress is needed and important in life, and more importantly, progress toward value added to life and community. From this, I have learned to do each of the following daily: learn at least one new piece of information, read something new, write one new item, speak to one other person, work toward improvement in one area, and do all of these with a focus toward the goal of value added. Each of these actions amount to small progress, a small win, and a small accomplishment for the day, but combined, they generate happiness, self-value, and a focus on others. An accumulation of these items makes the me of today a better version of the me I was yesterday, and a great deal better than the me from years ago. The same concept applies to our business, professional, and personal lives, son. Everything needs progress, and requirements of the delivery of progress exist everywhere, even when we do know it. Providing the community, others, and the self the added value of progress is a step forward they need each and every day, Mom stated. People have asked me the hypothetical question: if you die today, would you regret anything? Possibly as a result of my application of this guiding principle, I am not sure that I would regret anything. For the past 20 years, I have often worked 3 to 5 jobs, 7 days a week. I have maximized my time to add value to the community, and I can attest that I have received a great deal back from others. I am unsure if I even have the time to think much about myself to regret or worry. Dale Carnegie, the author of How to Stop Worrying and Start Living, confirms this. In his book, he states that when you live life to the fullest, you are too busy to worry or think about regrets. God, the one beyond you. I have a friend who once told me, you need someone to rely on and put your faith in, and it cannot be any of us or a human being. I regularly meet with a group of friends who talk about religion, and interestingly, most of us believe in different religions, including Catholicism, Baptist, Muslim, Buddhism, atheism, and ones who believe in the souls of their ancestors, such as grandparents or parents. We often have interesting discussions about the pros and cons of each religion, which frequently lead to a conflict of ideas. The consensus that most of us have reached would be that we humans have faith in something spiritual, a higher being beyond us. This provides us with something to lean on when we feel that we are weak, hopeless, and a failure. We accept that humans are unstable, unreliable, and easily fall in the face of life's challenges. God is the answer, regardless of how each of us views or believes in God. Even considering the atheist, I have encountered many who pray in the face of life's challenges, and when they are afraid in extreme cases. For me, the focus on the other in the highest form would mean to focus on God and to see God in others around us.